Hi friends, welcome to Corolla. So we are pulling up to, you're seeing this, Outer Banks Coffee. Lighthouse Bagels is the best bagels you'll see. Here's the Food Lion. So this is where you stop and you air your tires down. I will do a little video about just airing your tires down and show you the tire buddies that we use. But this is where you need to stop and air down. All right, friends, we're getting ready to pull onto the beach. You're gonna see a parking lot here. Do not stop here to air down. Air down at the Food Lion. There's all kinds of signs on this road that say no parking, do not stop. Please do not stop anywhere on this road and air your tires down. You need to do it before you get to the 4x4. So you go around a couple of sharp turns, and then we're going to be jumping right on off the pavement and onto the sand. If your car needs to fully stop to go into four-wheel drive, you need to put it in four-wheel drive when you air down at the Food Lion. If you can put it into four-wheel drive while you're rolling, I go into four-wheel drive when I hit this grate up here. And then once we hit the sand, it's going to be deep and powdery up here. So the big thing to remember is don't stop, just keep going. See, no stopping for any reason. Your speed limit is 15 miles per hour on the beach if you are within 50 yards of a horse or people. Otherwise, you can go up to 35. In the summer, there's going to be people back to back for miles, so just plan on going no more than 15 miles an hour the whole way. So we're 8 miles down the beach to get to our house, the Blue Horizon. You're also going to notice at this first part a whole bunch of stumps that are just randomly sticking out of the sand. This is why you don't want to drive at night, because unless you're familiar with the area, those are going to give you a pretty bad day. The sand can come in and out like we've been told 3 to 4 feet a year. So some of these stumps are covered up in the summertime. You don't see them, or maybe you just see the tips of them. But right now it's winter, it's the off season. We're at the end of January here. So also the sand is pretty hard packed and good for driving right now. In the summer, it's a little bit more powdery. The grooves will be much deeper. We did just pass a car, so there's not like really a designated driving lane right now in January. But once the season picks up, they do have designated driving lanes. Sometimes they're going to be up by the water, sometimes you're going to be back by the dune. So just kind of pay attention and make sure that you're following those rules. There's all these stumps in them. I was telling you about. Some of these suckers stick out pretty far. Oh. I'm not driving. So don't think that I'm driving while filming. You're also going to need to watch the tide schedule. Right now it's low tide. Well, so it's about 12 o'clock right now, and low tide was at 10 a.m. So it's starting to come back up again. I don't think high tide will be, I think, around 2 today. And it seems like it's pretty far out right now. But if there's a storm coming in at all, you're gonna see, I mean, we've been down here where the water's all the way up to the dune line, and you can't get out unless you're going at low tide. I use an app called Tides by Me, and if you download that and put in Corolla or you could put in sand bridge. So sand bridge and duck are the two options that come up for me, and I use sand bridge because it's a little bit closer to where we are. It will also give you a weekly schedule of the tides, and just be cognizant if there's a storm that's expected to roll in or not, because that does significantly impact the tides. It's a pretty view. I love driving the 4x4. It's the best part of living on the beach for me. So you're gonna see two houses coming up here, this big one, and then we're gonna pass two small ones that are side by side. Those are at the 4-mile mark, so we're gonna be about halfway to our house. And when the tides are high, a lot of times the water is underneath these houses and you can't get around them. So make sure you are checking the tides before you leave your house and before you're coming in. Lots of shells out. It's kind of an obstacle course to get around the stumps up here. So that was the first house that stuck out. That big one is the Laughing Gull. And then there's these two side by side. After these two, you won't see as many stumps. I haven't really seen many at all down on our end of the beach. And here's those other two houses side by side. You're gonna see all of the sand fencing. So that's used to create the dunes, and anything that you see that's growing on the dunes makes it a live dune. You're not allowed to walk on those parts of the sand dunes. You're not allowed to be on there. You will occasionally see horses on there, but you're supposed to stay off. There's mile markers that you can see on the edge of the dune there. And we're at mile marker 20.5. So here's like a driveway that you'll see where you can get off there. That's 16.5, so we still have a little ways to go. If you put our address into your GPS, it will take you all the way there. But I also do look for some landmarks. So we'll talk about those once we hit them. You'll notice there's a bunch of houses and then there's not houses at all. So there's also a lot of nature preserves around us where they're not allowed to build. The beach is usually pretty wide down by us, but it does narrow when the tides are high, and especially if there's a storm in. beach kind of changes every day. Sometimes if there's a pretty decent storm that rolls through, you'll notice that there's like cliffs that kind of just show up, and we went airborne in Kevin's truck one time. But the beach does change every day, so sometimes it's really smooth. It's a pretty good day today. And sometimes it's really ruddy. There's not really like a rule where you have to drive on the right or the left side, so a lot of times we just kind of play chicken until somebody figures out which way to go. But it seems to work out. Also, if you want to park on the beach, you're supposed to park in the middle, perpendicular to the water. And you do need a special permit to do that. I believe you get it from Currituck County. But I can find out a little bit more about that and post it up on the website. Some foam sitting on the sand, so you're going to notice days where the ocean's really agitated. It creates this foam. Don't let the foam get on your car. It's very bad for your paint. Obviously don't get in the salt water. That's not going to be good for your car either. And we do always recommend getting a good car wash with an undercarriage wash every time you leave the beach. Just try to get as much of the salt and sand off as you can. We can never get the sand off of our cars. There's always sand everywhere. Starting to get close. I always look for this blue tin roof, and then there's a metal tin roof. So you know you're on the right track. This water tower over here, that's the only thing like that on the beach. So that's definitely something that you need to keep an eye out for. And then there's this house over here too that has the flat roof. That's a relatively new construction. So I know after I see that, I'm making the next left-hand turn right where that truck just turned out is where we're going to be pulling in. So you go up over this dune, kind of cross your fingers and hope that you don't run into somebody that's coming up on the other side. I haven't run into anybody like that yet. You're gonna come up, this is called Dump Road. You're gonna make a right onto this road, that's Sand Fiddler Road. And then we are gonna be up here on the left. you're going to notice a big puddle in the road. Don't drive through the middle of it. They can get very deep. So skirt the outside. And we made it.